Alrighty. Gino's third day of advancing his education. Although obviously every day we've started and every day we've let him and every time we've touched him we've advanced his education. So it's kind of the third day of, like I was talking about, the next stage. Basic breaking in, follow your head. Now we're getting into getting off that leg. He did a great job yesterday at the same venue, just in an outdoor arena. Alright, so we'll pick up with where we started. Good. I'll let him quit on that. Even though at the end he was a little bit quick and just kind of threw himself into it, and I don't really like that. I'd still like it a little bit more controlled even at this stage. Good, that's better. Nice controlled response. Just spotted a horse going down into the hollow down there. Let him just have a quick look. That's good. Some of that resistance is just a little bit of impatience, like love to run around and play with the other horses and do his own thing. So it's also a lot of what's going on is slowly educating their self-discipline. Because if they were here on their own, loose, they'd be running around talking to the other horses and investigating and doing things. Not doing weird little maneuvers in an arena because some human felt like they wanted to. At the same time, like we found out, we did these exercises with him yesterday. The more we gave him to think about, the more he actually started to focus. It's a nice step, nice few steps. We'll stop there and see if he'll go back the other way off the leg, or whether he's just anticipating. That's good. Whoa. And again, it's more of a leg yield than a side pass, but we're getting everything stepping across. And I've talked a lot about, why I'd work with Bosel and the halter. And you can kind of see it happening here. He's like distracted and I want to do this and I want to do that. And as part of that, we're trying to get that self-discipline, so all those discussions are out of the way before I get and put a snaffle in his mouthpiece. Snaffle in his mouth. So we're setting him up there for that turn on the hind quarter, and there we go. But because there's been a little bit of bending to the right, pushing him to the left, and bend him left, pushing him right, when we get over here, you know, he's bent to the left, and he's got to assess, you know, there's a right foot. And even though he's bent to the left, you know, left bend, right foot, step my shoulders across. There we go. And we'll go again. So big exaggeration on body position. Nice step. Do some to the left. Good. Excellent. And again. Good. Knowing when to leave him alone is so crucial. And by leave him alone, I mean just take the pressure away, leg off. Go through what he did yesterday with the direct rein and indirect rein. So inside leg at the girth, inside bend. But if I move everything over to the left, that right leg becomes the outside leg, and I want his shoulders to move left. There we go. Like we've said quite a few times, you know, a lot of this will be a bit sketchy. I kind of want him to feel like he can be a little bit sketchy and there's no major ramifications for that. There's no major consequences for him being a bit sketchy at this point because he doesn't know, or he's just learning. So here's left leg, inside bend. Move our hands over, circle the other way. Still a left leg. It's now an outside leg. G'day, thank you so much for watching. If you could like, share, subscribe, turn on the notifications bell, that would be awesome. Thank you. Cheers. Do the right side again. Kind of stop, but keep that leg on strong until his shoulders move over. And even though I'm aiming for a counter flexion, so his direct flexion nose to the inside, And then I move my hands over and ask him to do a counterflexion circle. You know how he got stuck on that last one and he stopped and put his nose to the left while I was trying to do it? I'm still not upset by that because I'm still teaching him that, rein off your neck, follow your nose and go that way, which he knows very well. We've done that all along. When the rein's on his neck, he's got to go to the left. Now, if I could keep a little right hand bend, and start working on counterflexion, which we did for most of that circle, that's great. If he bends his nose around to the left and does it, he's still, moving away from that outside rein and outside leg. And again, we're not getting picky on detail at this point. There's things we can sort of gloss over, other things we can't. I don't want him to just walk off and ignore me, so that's a problem. I want him to step over a little bit. But if his flexion's wrong, I'm not too worried at this point. Still a little bit around to the left. So the next challenge, I'm actually going to back up a little bit and do some more turns on the hind quarter. I'm getting him to pivot around his back end. And he's just kind of stopped and like, oh, I'm just going to push through and go and do my own thing. It's like, stay here, move over. That's good. There we go. All right. Let's go for another turn on the hind quarter. No, not forward. Yep. So only stepped his front end over a little bit, but it kind of it depends on what precedes it. So I asked him and he got a little lost. So as soon as he moved that front, I took the pressure away and he goes, oh, okay, that's what we're doing. And then the next one he'll probably be a lot better. But I asked him to move over and he's like, I don't know what to do, or you're just tuning me out, one or the other, I'm not 100% sure. When he gives me a bit, that's when the pressure goes. And again, we're not being really tough on him here for smaller details. And there he stepped over really good. But that's quite important, knowing what kind of is important, what you have to be more specific about. He struggled and then he kind of went, oh, okay, and we settled for a little less, but it was still a move in the right direction. And then it gets softer again. But it's way too early to be getting tough on him for not, being right on the money and straight away. Like, he's still got lots of things that he's trying to digest in his head. Anyway, we'll try him up in a jog. Might just unravel this a bit. Oh, I had him in the poo. That was number 2, mate. Sorry. And later on, I'm going to get him to counterbend all the way around the circle. But early on, just a step or two is great. Because it'll build. It's one of those things that's going to build. Oh. And he's flexed really good, and I wanted him to move back. So I've clocked to him and he didn't want to move, so I backed it up with my feet, not by pulling on his head. Just going to wrap that up out of the way again. It's because he didn't need that so much. Didn't realize he was stopping for a toilet break. This arena is almost a bit too soft for him too. He's only a baby and it's pretty hard work. And I kind of just felt he was gonna get pushy down here, and I had to have that little discussion. So he came in that gate, and his friend standing at the float over there. It's one of those conveniently forgetful moments. It's like, oh, I know to go around, but I don't want to go here because that means I'm probably going to have to move away from my, that direction that I was keen on going in the first place. But again, this is kind of a measured response, He's very green, and he's actually he's doing a great job. Oh. And you can see even on him, people haven't been stopping and throwing the rain away, but he's still kind of stopping with his nose out. We need to get him to get in that mindset of holding himself together through the stop. Is why we kept him together a little bit after it. So I'm just going to fiddle a little bit more here with walking along, moving his front. Nice. Because we've just done some jog work, doing direct bend and counter bend. So direct rein and indirect rein at the jog, which means I'm getting close to, I could jog a circle, and instead of just pulling his nose where I want to go, start to use that outside rein and leg a little bit more while we're trotting along. Which again, you've been watching what he's doing, that seems pretty obvious, but everything is a progression. One bit leads to the next bit. There's no sort of major jumps. Everything sort of blends along. Alright, so we'll jog along. So this time we're going to steer with 2 reins. Move both hands across, use that outside leg to drive his shoulder, and then turn him loose. So before it was just one, follow your nose, we weren't doing anything with that outside rein. Now we're kind of stepping up to starting to contain that shoulder and keep it underneath me a bit more. And we're not going to circle as in turn, 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 turn. I'm going to make a corner and let him go. It'll kind of end up being a circle, but this bit again, he's kind of doing that on his own. I'm going to ask him to give to some pressure here. Did a great job. This bit he's doing on his own. So again, the way out for him is very clear. And that's such an important thing on a young horse. What's the goal? What's the way out? He's doing a good job of that, so we might just try shortening the rein a little while we're doing it. So we'll put a little vertical flexion and then steer. He did a good job, we'll turn him loose. So a little vertical flexion again, and steer across, nice. Little vertical flexion, move that shoulder. This time we'll get a little vertical flexion. And stop and let him run into that. Like, I didn't move my hands back, I didn't pull on him, but he's got to get in the habit of holding himself together through stop a little better. We'll give him a little break to digest that. But that's when we're starting to put it together, like leg means move away, and leg here means move your shoulders there. And the steering gets good, then I can start framing him up at the same time and put a few things together, and then it starts to look like, you know, what a lot of us would expect on a more educated horse. Like I've said all along, the time frame's a little bit dictated by him. Well, it's dictated by him a lot. And he's come along reasonably quick. I've certainly had some horses that took a lot longer. I haven't really had horses that went a lot faster. But the other thing is that there's no rush here. Sometimes if I'm wondering, should I step them up and do more? I go, we'll just tread water for another day. Like, we'll just maintain what we're doing for another day. When I was younger, I tried to teach him as much as I could, as soon as I could, to impress people. And it was all good, except the odd horse, it was just too much to take in. And I didn't necessarily wreck them, but I didn't have that relaxation in them. And they weren't confident, you know, because I wasn't always there for them. Because I'd trying to make them fit, you know, my agenda a little. Anyway, back to the task at hand. So step his front end across. Step it across. So this is the same as that turn on the hindquarter cue, but we happen to be trotting forward now. But we're still asking his shoulders to move to the right. There, they came under me good. There, they're drifting out a bit. There, they're under me again. Nice, came straight under that time. Now let's add a little vertical flexion. And move his shoulder. Whoop. So he actually did that really well. And he kind of stopped, and there was a little bit of a reflex action of mine where I was like, oh, don't stop. Whoa. So yeah, I asked him, and he almost shut down straight away and went straight into a turn on the hindquarter. I was like, no, keep trotting forward. So a little bit tougher on him then maybe than I should have been. I could have just waited, like he stopped and then me get him to go again. But in his case, something to keep in mind is a bit of work ethic. He is quite a relaxed horse, so I don't want to be too soft on him because he will start to take advantage of that. And when I ask him to do things, it'd be a little bit like, oh, do I have to? I'll get too much argument. I'm always bordering on trying to get him as soft and slow and almost lazy, because it's always a bit better to push one along than be pulling them back or trying to keep them back with you. Nice turn. Whoa. This is kind of one of those days I was talking about before, is like, it's awfully tempting to try it at a canter, but I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it another day. Like, I already know he can canter. I'm not worried about him cantering, but you know, using both reins, using my supporting rein and supporting leg rather than just my inside rein. So I'm using that supporting rein and leg, and he's done a great job with it at a walk and a trot. And I've added some vertical flexion. You know, you kind of did it that easy. You get a little tempted to go, well, let's see if we can do it at a canter, because that could be fun, and we're all dying to see what he's going to do. But it's going to be one of those days where I go, I'm not sure, so I'm not going to. I'm not sure whether to do it. I'm not sure whether it'll be too much, so I'm going to leave it till the next session. But I will finish with a little turn on the hindquarter, little revision basically. There we go. Turn on the hindquarter the other way. Nice. Ride him right up into his stop. Whoa. Yeah, that was better. He didn't touch the rein at all that time. I'm holding my hand still. Nice. I'm holding my hand still, and he didn't bump into that barrier that I'd put up there at all. So we'll just go for a side pass again. And again, you know, it's interesting to look at his attitude now compared to the start. And it's like the more things he had to think about, the more he's kind of dialed in. Still pretty casual, obviously. You know, not too worried about things. So really happy with the progress we made there today. We'll put him on that. Even though I know him quite well, I'm going to shorten that rein as I get off. It was a horse I did know I'd be quite short and hanging on to the mane. don't really feel the need to do that with him, but I'm gonna be here just in case he happens to get a spook as I come down. And remember, go out, give your horse a rub. He's doing the best he can with the human he got stuck with. Alright, catch you on the next one. G'day, thank you so much for watching. If you could like, share, subscribe, turn on the notifications bell, that would be awesome. Thank you. Cheers.